everyone. First video of April 17th, 2020. It's currently like 1:30 in the morning, so I've been up just working on a bunch of these. Very major news in this one. The U.S. has now sent, well, it's not the U.S. in general, but the deep state, because Trump is not pushing this, he's pushing going after the people who actually caused this. Not just the Chinese, but the actual globalists who are behind this. But this deep state, the same ones who staged 9/11, are now saying that China has been testing secret nukes. Bill Maher even coming out and saying that if China did this, it's war. That's just another part of the global system. I'll kind of explain that all here. I have a huge list. I'm just going to kind of rant and rave. I'm just going to go off what this says so I can keep it short and sweet. This is going to be a war, and it's just like the war in the Middle East with terrorism. So this again, how I try and explain 9/11, and this is a current example, is the war is justified but not the solution. 9/11, yeah, terrorists sold out to the globalists and do what they want. Just like this, China sold out to the globalists and do whatever they want. They gave the terrorists the orders to hijack the planes. With that came another war with control over the area, the oil, and tyranny of people here in the U.S. with TSA and other things in the Patriot Act. We see the same thing happening here. Traitors in the U.S., the same ones who funded the terrorists, set up and fund and gave the bioweapon to China. The deep state, not just the U.S., it's the deep state, traitors to the U.S. They gave this bioweapon to China, causing another war, control of the area, which they already have, depopulation, which is a major one, and getting rid of the elderly with the idea of useless eaters, and also getting the pensions. So it's all just, it's a win-win-win for them. And also more oppressive measures here in the U.S. because people could have the virus like we're seeing now. So they're benefiting in every way from this. They're able to take our rights away from it. The whole power structure gets what they want, so nobody speaks out. Just good people in it. The devil, who is at the top of this, obviously, because it is evil, his main source of control and the main way people at the top stay in control, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, other groups like that, and the scale goes down from there. Is with corruption. So they want to do this to start a war that's kind of fake and kind of real. Yet the threat is real. The weapons it's kind of real, kind of fake. Just as I'm explaining 9/11, the threat is real. The weapons manufacturers and large corporations get plenty of money from it, so it keeps the secrecy. It binds them to it. I'm not against the military either. Just corrupt factions in it that ship in the narcotics and other things like that and deal with the corporations and the UFOs, and just they're more of the elite of the military and corporations. They're kind of really the people who know that stuff. I'm sure they actually, it's most likely that the people who run those shows, not just the corporation or military in general, but the people who are in there and in those unacknowledged special access projects, they're probably most likely at the right hand of the globalists or globalists themselves. But it's a very small select amount of people who are at the very top. These people in these USAPs surely know everything of what they're doing. And the main people in banks, corporations, military, etc., police, and so on, they know everything, so they're able to work and infiltrate. The good people infiltrate into that system and control over that. Usually like chiefs or officers or something like that. So every level has people from the top in it, running it, keeping it in check with normal people, the rest. So that's really, that's key to understand. And there's just like also just anything like crazy people in the military who torture and such, but that's a matter of personal just ways of thinking, so that's not even an issue. It's bad, and most likely from the devil again, telling them to kill more people, But that doesn't necessarily put them up the top of the power structure. That's their own personal ideology. The idea of the military going to war with these people, it's unavoidable. They have no choice. Traders are funding them, and they aren't backing off. So as the threats keep coming, just like terrorists are real, but they're being funded. They're fake, but the threat is still coming. So you still have to face that threat. Just like this coronavirus, it's man-made, yet it's still killing people. So we still have to face it. The Chinese launched it. We have to deal with them, but we really need to deal with the people who are really behind it. So that's just the point I'm trying to get to. You have to deal with what's at your face, and it's not always the truth or the actual problem. Traders are funding them, and they aren't backing off. So as long as they keep killing, we need to fight them. The main thing is to go after people who fund them. But they kind of just hide at the top of controlling everything. But anyways, expect another war soon with China. Not good for us at all. It'll cost lives on our side and their side. Get rid of our rights more than we already have. I'm not sure if they'll shut down the Chinese or if the globalists will keep funding it. Most likely it will fall just like, and they'll start funding another group, just like the Nazis. They funded that, crashed that, and then set up communist China. So I don't know what the next group will be. We'll see. These people aren't from, they're Americans, but they're traitors, so they're the real problem here. Now, just a few things that the State Department said. The concerns stem from the high tempo of activity at China's Lannur test site, extensive excavations at the site, and Beijing's purported use of special chambers to contain explosions. And I doubt this is made up like the babies in incubators in Iraq, because they were, they kind of went in there without having a pre-set up for that. Like the main setups were the Nazis and then Communist China, which were set up right after each other. Terrorism was just kind of one thing in there, so they didn't really have everything set up there with the actual, like, threats coming from there, so they just had to make up a lot of it, really, instead of actually having that stuff there like we see here with actual nuclear test sites. The terrorist thing was just all made up with the Nuria testimony and other things. But just like the plane crashes into the Twin Towers were real, this bioweapon's real, but it's funded, it was given, it was set up by different people. So I'm really trying to hammer down on that because that's the main point here. We see what's happening here. It does nothing good for us. The globalists win in every way, and their whole power structure. I think Trump just needs to make death warrants for all the main globalists and get them taken out, and that would collapse the entire structure without the funding and everything, and the corruption would really just stop from there. At least that's how I imagine it working, but that's a large hope, but we can work towards that. See you in the next one.